We have got our first summer banner, and I'm going to be breaking down everything in simple to understand ways. So we have got Summer Nerthuz as a Green Beast Cavalier. Didn't expect her to get an ult so soon after her New Year's ult. So here she's going to be attacking Medius, and her preferred is going to be Love of Nerthuz. So this gives her minus in special cooldown, and she can get up to 14 to all of her stats in the combat, and this depends on the number of allies in 3 rows or 3 columns centered on her, multiplied by 3 and then added with 5. So she's going to be able to get a lot of stats, and she also has full null follow-up in this weapon, and she also gets 40% damage reduction on foes' first attacks, including the brave hits. And then she becomes a bit of a support unit, so to herself and to the allies in 3 rows and 3 columns centered on her, she's able to give out the damage reduction piercing as a passive effect. So this is kind of reminiscent of Yukimura, but the difference is that you can get different amount of damage reduction piercing depending on your max special cooldown count, multiplied by 30 and then added with 10. And you can have 100% damage reduction piercing if you've got a special whose maximum special cooldown count is 3. So she does come with Dragon Fang, which does become a 3 cooldown special with her weapon. So this is the perfect effect for her, and she gives out this effect to the other units as well. So the other units, if they don't have damage reduction piercing, this is going to be good effect to get. And she also acts as Brave Male Robin by giving you special cooldown -1 jump before your first attack if your damaging special's max special cooldown count is 3 or more than 3. So this allows her to support her allies in a pretty unique way. Giving the damage reduction piercing and jumping is pretty unique, and no unit can do that at the same time. And then she's got the regular Cav Beast transformation, where she can get +2 attack, debuff the opponent's attack and defense depending on the spaces moved. And she can also get 30% damage reduction on foe's first attack, which is going to be helping with her slot B skill. So her slot B skill has evolved, and the slot B skill has got as many effects as some units have in their preferred weapon. So Under the Sun gives you Canto 2. So this is fixed Canto. She doesn't have to run Alarm skill, and then she can also debuff the foe's speed and defense by -5. And she also has Null Guard built in her weapon, and then she's got true damage based on 20% of her speed. This is not going to be including the AoE specials. And then she has got the flat damage reduction, kind of like what we saw on Summer Nerthuz, but this is going to be giving you the flat damage reduction on foes' first attacks, including the brave hits, depending on 25% of her speed. So having the flat damage reduction is really strong, especially when you have the damage reflection on foes' first attack. So she's going to be reflecting back the damage, which we have seen before with skills like Counter Roar, and then after the combat she heals up 7 HP. So the healing is helpful for the self-sustain because she can be really tanky because of that flat damage reduction in this skill, and that's 25% of her speed. And then she brings a new slotsy skill in Beast Threaten. So at start of turn, it is going to be inflicting -7 defense debuff and the panic status on the foes in 3 rows or 3 columns centered on her. And to herself, at start of combat, if any kind of foe is in 3 rows or 3 columns, then she gets +6 attack as the visible buff, and she also gets Time Pulse built in this weapon. So Dragon Fang becomes a 2 cooldown special that she's easily going to be triggering with her weapon and with her slot B skill, giving her that Null Guard. So Nerthuz is going to be functioning as a really solid melee nuke with her damage reflection and also the true damage that she can get. And she also comes with Attack Speed XL, which again I don't really expect so soon after Battle Arena. So this is going to be giving you that flat damage reduction in the player phase depending on the spaces moved. And this can even give you the flat damage reduction in the enemy phase if the foe triggers a special. So all of this is going to be going really well with the damage reflection that she has got, and she also provides that damage reduction piercing support and the special cooldown jump to the allies in a pretty big range. And she also comes with amazing fodder as Attack Speed XL does branch off Attack Speed Clash, and you also have Beast Threaten, which is going to be helpful for any kind of beast unit, especially flying and beast cavalry units, because they don't have easy access to that kind of time pulse. Then we have got Hrid, which a lot of people were expecting seeing the silhouette, and he definitely got best out of any kind of Niflheim siblings because he comes later compared to them, and that means he gets a much better weapon and preferred skill. So he's a Lance Cavalry unit this time, and he has got a new status effect that it introduces to the game in the Frozen status. So here he's going to be attacking Violet, and he has got Princess Lance as his preferred weapon. This gives him Canto 2, so again he doesn't really have to run any kind of alarm skill, and he can get up to 14 to all of his stats depending on 25% of foes' visible attack, subtracted with 4. And he also has the in-combat panic similar to Hrid's Weapon Refine, but this is an in-combat panic for all of these stats. And then he also has 40% damage reduction in the combat, and he also heals up HP on his special triggers, depending on 10 plus the maximum special cooldown count, multiplied by 20, and this can be max 100 as well. So by now, Hrid seems a bit tame, but then comes his preferred skill, which is definitely going to be changing things with how you double the enemies. So he has got Ice Prince Seal, and this is going to be inflicting -7 speed and defense debuff, the frozen status, and the guard status on the closest foes and the foes in 2 spaces of them. So it's a really big splash debuff range, and then in the combat he's able to debuff them for -5 speed, defense, and attack, and he also gets the guaranteed follow-up attack, and he also deals true damage based on 20% of his defense, and he also has flat damage reduction based on 20% of his defense. So that is quite rare for a Cavalier, and especially compared to a lot of the slow Cavaliers, they don't really have this kind of flat damage reduction. So this is going to be making Hrid a lot more tanky. And now let's go over the elephant in the room and see what Frozen does. So it changes the amount of speed you need to double, and it also changes that for the enemy. So pretty much this is from the perspective of the foe, but I've tried to change that with my summary. So it increases the amount of speed the foe will need for them to double, and it reduces the amount of speed you will need to double. And this is going to be depending on the defense check. So if you've got more defense than foe's defense, then the X is going to be 10 plus the difference in the defense and your defense and the enemy's defense times 2. And if you don't win that defense check, then X is going to be 10. So this pretty much makes it so that many of the high defense units, they can still double many of the units pretty much by making it harder for them to double them. And this is something that Hrid is going to be doing with his base 47 defense. So it's quite high, and it's definitely an interesting effect. And Frozen status not only helps Hrid, but it also helps the other allies on his teams. So if you've got an ally with really high defense and a good amount of speed, then this is going to be making it annoying for your enemy so that they can double that foe. So it pretty much changes the speed needed for you to double into defense, and it makes a defense check. So it's a really solid status, and Hrid is definitely going to be taking advantage of it. And they've finally made wave skills better. So odd defense wave 4 is going to be giving you +6 defense buff, and also giving that to your allies in 2 spaces for 1 turn. And then if you're going to be winning the defense check, then you're going to be having the full tempo effect out of this skill. And keep in mind that these wave skills can be inherited on any kind of unit. And on the odd turns, you're just going to be getting +6 defense in the combat. So all of the other things are also going to be active in the even turns. It's just that the +6 defense you get in the combat is tied to the odd turn. So yeah, that's quite a glow up, and this is going to be an incredible skill for many of the Gale Force units, or just units who want to retaliate back with their specials, because they're able to get the full tempo effect out of their slot C. And even like infantry units who can run the tempo skills, they can run something else in their slot B. So definitely gives you a lot of flexibility if you've got really high defense. And we've got the 4-star focus unit of the banner, and she's going to be giving the colorless tome that she has got to Nime and Laurent. So she's a colorless flying mage, and she's got Sea Tambourine Plus as the inheritable weapon. So at start of turn, it is going to be giving +6 attack and speed buff to herself and to the allies in 2 spaces. And at start of combat, if her HP is at or above 25%, then on the even turns, you get +5 attack and speed in the combat. And if it's an odd turn, then you get +11 attack and speed in the combat. So they've kept up the even odd gimmick of this weapon. And then if you've got more speed than foe speed -5, then you get the full long follow-up effect. So that, you know, it's not going to be the best weapon for Laurent and Nime because they're not really all that fast, but at least Olivia is going to be able to make use of that. I kind of wish that she came with a preferred dance, because Spring Mirabilis is such a good value unit because she's a 4-star focus and she's so unique with her preferred dance. But unfortunately, Olivia is not really going to be doing any of that. And then she has got attack speed Fortrace and also attack speed Rain as the Slotsy skill. So her fodder is good for the bridge fodder, and her weapon is definitely pretty nice with that full on follow-up. Then we've got the star of the banner and Duo Gullveig or Summer Gullveig, and she's a red mage cavalier, and she's definitely going to be an amazing Aetherytes offense unit because of the extra actions that she can get. So she has got Golden Sunlight as her preferred weapon. This gives her -1 special cooldown, and you also get +14 to all of these stats, and this is going to be treated as max 14 on her second combat in both player phase and in the enemy phase. So after Gale Forcing, you're able to get plus 14 no matter what, which is really solid. And then you also get 20% true damage based on her speed. Unfortunately, this is not going to be getting added with the AoE special, which is something that she could run as a tech option in Ether Raid's offense. And then it also has 50% damage reduction piercing, which is something that Brave Gullveig was definitely missing. And then in her player phase, when she initiates combat, she's going to be getting 70% damage reduction on foes' first attacks, including the Brave hits. And she also gets Gale Force at the cost of getting the gravity inflicted on her. And this is not going to be triggering for 2 turns after it has already triggered. So if you've used Mythic Gullveig, you already know how it is. And then she also has her preferred special in Time and Light. So this is going to be a 1 cooldown special with her weapon, and it's going to be giving you damage based on 30% of her speed on the special triggers. It also has Null Guard built in it, and you also get the Gale Force out of this special as well at the cost of getting the gravity status. And this is going to be once per turn. So this could be used so that you can get even more actions in Ether Raid's offense, but even without this, you can run an AoE special and run her with Bright Embla, Veluria, or Duo Chrom and just pre-charge that AoE special and do a lot more damage, and you still get the Gale Force from her weapon. So she still has that extraction even if she's going to be running an AoE special, as you could use it against the teams that have a really annoying Var Saviors, so AoE special can help you just power through them. But if you don't want to do that, then you still have the pre-combat damage of Flared Sparrow, and then Speed Resistance Fortress can help you even if you're running an AoE special by giving you that true damage. But Occultist Strike could also be run, and then she comes with Oddspeed Wave Force. So what this does is pretty much gives you the speed buff and also to the allies in 2 spaces, and it also gives you the full null follow-up effect if you've got the speed check. So I guess these Wave Force skills are going to be having an extra effect built in it. So we have got the full tempo effect on Hrid's odd defense wave, and then here we have got the full null follow-up effect, and any kind of cavalier or flying unit can make use of this and get that full null follow-up, which is really good. So overall, she's going to be functioning as an amazing Ether Raid's unit for Gale Forcing. You probably want to use her as a double Fury initiator so that she can fall into the Wings of Mercy range with the Fury recall damage. So that's probably going to be a lot more suited with her extra actions, and you can always run an AoE special like I've said, because you've seen me use Brave Gullveig as an AoE initiator, and same could be done with this Gullveig. It's just that she doesn't have that flying mobility. Instead, she's a cavalier, which is not the worst thing, and unfortunately she doesn't really get the true damage added into her AoE special, which is definitely a bit of a shame. And then she has got her duo skill, which is going to be giving you another action if the unit has already entered the combat in that current turn. So this helps you after you have killed the enemy's harmonic or duo units, or you've destroyed their duo hindrance structure. So this can definitely come in handy, just another action on your Gale Force initiator. And she could also be used as a Wings of Mercy Gale Force unit because she gets the 2 actions out of her weapon and special, and not out of her slot B skill, unlike Brave Gullveig. We're also going to be getting Summer Vaike as the Tempest Trial Reward, so he's probably going to be having a weapon similar to Olivia, but probably it's going to be based on his defense, and it might give him guaranteed follow-up attack, or I don't know, tempo if he has got the defense check. So I'm definitely thinking that they're going to be going the defense route, as they usually do with these free-to-play weapons. So going to be covering him once he comes out. And overall, this banner is definitely a lot more Ether Raid's focus with Summer or Duo Gullveig giving you extractions, and then Hrid can be a really solid slow cavalier who can also help your slower allies that have high defense. And Nerthuz just hits like a truck with all of the true damage and damage reflection, and she can also be deceptively bulky. We should be getting another summer banner next month, so if you don't really like the characters in this banner, then you could wait until that banner, and it's gonna be worth saving because I'm expecting that banner to have even more insane stuff. I mean, Duo Gullveig is really solid, but she is kind of skippable if you already have the Gale Force tools in your barracks. I want to thank all of my YouTube members, and you can click the link on the screen right now to check out my review of this month's weapon refines, and make sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell, because I wish YouTube sub boxes were about as fast as the amount of Nerthuz ults we have got in this game. So that's it, I'll see you guys next time. Thank you so much for watching and have a great day.